Antariyascha bahirvidutatimiram Jyotirmayam Shashvatam Sthanam Prapya Virajate Vinamatam Ajnanamunmulayan Pashyan Vishwamapidamalasadiyo Vishwasya Pare Paraha Tasmai Sri Ramanaya Loka Gurave Shokasya Hantre Namaha Satpratyaya Kimnu Vihaya Santam Riddesha Chinta Rahito Hridakyaha Katam Smaramastamameyamekam Tasya Smritihi Tatra Dridaiva Nishtha. In this wonderful text, Darshanam, we have taken up from January onward. We have completed up to 25, 26. In 25, verse number 25, and even from the beginning onwards, the main message of Sri Ramana Maharshi through this text is Atmanishta eva mukti hetuhu Atmanishtatvam jivan mukti sthitihi. Abidance in the self and the attempt to do that is the means to liberation, and continuous abidance in the self alone is considered as liberation while living. In the path of bhakti, it is prapatti, surrender. What is that which does not allow us to remain united with the self? Atmanishtasya nishtayaha. And Atmanishta is feminine, therefore Atmanishtayaha. Vignaha ka. What is the vigna? What is the obstacle? The obstacle for Atmanishta is ahankar. In 25, he said, Navakti deho hamati prasabdau nako bina bhuvamidi pravakti yatrodide sarvamudeditasya diyahamakṣodaya janmadesham deha navakti aham iti sushuptau prasuptau. In deep sleep, the body does not say, I am. Na kaha api na abhuvam iti pravakti. And nobody has any experience of I was not, I am not. One cannot experience one's own absence anytime. Sarvam udedi yatra udite. What is that which upon which rising up? Everything comes to be rising up. Tasya ahamaha, of that very ahankar, janmadesham, the very birthplace, diya shodaya. Find out with your own intellect. With the help of the buddhi, while you are awake, find out what is that upon which is waking up. Everything comes to be experienced by you. Because body, if you are, body has no independent existence unless you are aware of it. In sleep, the body does not have any claim. It doesn't claim to be present. So we are not to consider ourselves only the body. I am body also, in the sense, when I am operating, transacting with the world, I operate through the body. But that alone am I. I should not misconstrue. I should not misunderstand in that way. For even when I am asleep, even though I am not aware of my body, but I am present. I am not absent. I am absent to the world, but not absent to myself. If I am absent to myself, then I would not recall my experience of the sleep. If you are absent in the class, and then next day, next week, when you come to the class, Swamiji, I could not be there in the class yesterday, last week. Please let me know what all the things you discussed in brief. Why? You are not there. Or you ask somebody else, or send me the video, Swamiji, I would like to see. But when you wake up in the morning, do you ask somebody, how was my sleep experience? Can anybody please tell me about it? Do you? Do you ask somebody, how was my sleep? If at all you ask, somebody would say, you snored like a donkey. But you need not have to ask somebody about your sleep experience. And in fact, nobody can even tell you about that. So if I had known my sleep experience myself, it cannot be me who was experiencing, because of which I could recall. Which is not possible when you were absent in a class. You cannot have the experience of it. You have to ask somebody. This is one thing. Secondly, even when you are absent in the class here, you are present somewhere else. You are always present somewhere. You may not be here, but somewhere you are there. So you can never be absent. So body I am not, because body never says I am anytime. I am never absent. If I am absent here, I am present somewhere else. Even in sleep, I am not absent because I can recall my experience. Okay, this is understood. But when I wake up from the sleep, everything comes to be known. I wake up along with hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, thinking, planning. Everything comes to manifest in my... What is that which wakes up? Because of which everything wakes up. What is the very Janmasthanam, the starting point of all this when I wake up? That is Aham, Ahankar. In 26, he says, repeat after me, Deho na janadi sato na janma. Deha pramano nyavuteti madhye. Aham kriti granti vibandha sukshma. Sharira cheto bhava jivanama. Deho na janadi sato na janma. Deha pramano nyavuteti madhye. Aham kriti granti vibandha sukshma. Sharira cheto bhava jivanama. Deha na janadi satah na janma. Deha na janati, body does not know what? The truth, meaning existence. Satah na janma janati. It has no true existence. It has no birth. Birth of the body is not known to the birth, known to the body. Birth of the body is known to that which was there before the body. The body does not know itself or anything else. It is inert. Deho na janadi sato na janma. Madhye, in between, anyaha deha pramana udeti. It is interesting. This ego is exactly looking like that of the body. Deha jadatvat nata sato na janma. Sadvastunaha chidgana atmanaha. That tatapi kadam kasmad kasmad adinam vyavaharaha. Now, madhye, see, body, we celebrate birthday, etc. Birthday of what? The body. And birthday, when you say, oh, I am 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. So when somebody is celebrating, say, 25th years of birth, happy 25th. All right. So when I was born as a physical body, I need to find out that physical body is 25-year-old. Am I 25-year-old? Me, as of the one who is aware of the physical body's existence. Am I 25-year-old? Most people say, yes, you are 25-year-old. Because that is the Laukika Nyaya. In Loka Nyaya is what? Whatever be the age of the body is what your age is. Okay, in 25, you feel like that. When you become 50, do you feel like a 50-year-old? When you become 80, do you feel like 80-year-old? Honestly speaking, the one which is knowing the physical body's birth, decay, change, etc., who is a witness of this body's change, etc., is one who is not getting old at all. Even if others say I'm 60 years old, in my mind I say, I don't feel like I'm 60 years old. My body is 60 years old, 70 years old. Because you don't even know what it would be to feel like a 60-year-old, what it would be to feel like a 70-year-old. You physically see a person who's 70-year-old, hardly able to walk, etc. Let us say, or 80-year-old. Because that person identifies with the physical body and then says, I am physical body for 80 years old, therefore I should feel like an 80-year-old person. Let me tell you, if that person whose body is 80 years old and he is given, they take out that body from him and give him a 10-year-old body, what would be he feeling? Think. What would he feel? 10-year-old. Give him a 25-year-old body. 25-year-old. See, so the one who is experiencing the body's old age, etc., is not old because he is given another body which is younger one. See, that is the reason why, as some in this part of the world, when a person is 60-year-old, he feel like marrying a younger one. 20, 25 years old. So then I would feel, if she feels my company is here, so I am rejuvenated to live like a 25-year-old. Because he cannot change the body, at least change the partner. Or wear the dress of a 25-year-old and feel like that I am 25. So the one which is there, which is not the body, is not really old. It is living in that old body. Therefore, identified with the body, it feels like it is that old. When it is given a new body, that particular earlier perception that I am 80 or 70-year-old, this is gone. Science is actually moving in that direction to find out if a soul can be removed from one body and put it to another new body and will continue to live and with the younger body. So it will be nice. You can keep changing the body knowingly. At will, a lot of money you have to pay, of course. So who is getting old? So that is why it is said, Deha Pramanaha Anyah Udedi. Other than the body, there is something which is identically identified with the body is present, and that is what is being referred with these terms: ahankriti, ego; granti, not K-noti; then vibandha, bondage; sukshma shariram, subtle body; chetaha, mind; bhava jivanamna, that which is subject to change and which is referred as jiva. Bhava jivanama, constantly changing individual or coming to present. Bhava is that which is coming into being, becoming and the individual, realm of becoming, as Guruji puts it there. Madhye, ubayor madhye, anudayatva satchitatmanaha chadasya dehasya cha ityartaha anyaha ubaya vilakshanaha. Madhya means between the two. Between what? Body which is constantly changing, consciousness which is never subject to change. In between this consciousness which is of the nature of sentiency and the body which is of the nature of jada, inertness, there is something which appears to be present. Deha pramanaha. Deha pramanam yasya saha yavad deha tavan yavad iti arthaha. Yeah, so long as the body is present or identified with, it is also present. Udedi jayate koyam udedi keva asya vyaparaha iti jyotayadim asya vividani namani aha. How it is that and what is its nature, what does it do? That is why there are so many names. ahankriti, granti, bibanda, sukshma sharira, chetaha, bhava jiva nama. All these names. Ahankara chitatmanah sarvavyapakatve api ayam jadachetana madhyavartitvat ubhayasambandhi yavat deham abhimanena vyaptavan ityartha. Sarvyavyaparagatve ahankara chitatmanah sarvyavyaparagatve, because this being the transactional entity, Jada Chetana Madhyavarti, between the Jada and Chetana, between the inert and the ever-present consciousness, between these two. Purva Shastrebhyo Vilakshanam Idyuktam Yajjada Chetana Madhye Udita Ahankaram Arthandareshu Prasiddhaihi Padaihi Avidatte. Because these many terms are given because in our Shastras, various ways it is referred. Atra Deha Mana Manoho Madhye Dehatmanoho Madhya Aham Padarthasya Abhasamanatvat Ahankriti-nama Upapadyate. Dehatmagavantagatvat Chijjada Grantihi Atayeva Vibantaha. So one name is Ahankara, Ahankriti. Ahankara means one who has the feeling of I with the body. Therefore, it's called Ahankara. Granti, because it is that which is in a tie between consciousness and the inert body. Consciousness has no action. Body cannot but be active. Between these two, there is something which is connecting link. Therefore, it is Granti. And because of it is being a Granti, a knot, therefore it is subject to bondage. Because if you do things you have to bind together, what do? Put a knot. So both are bound. That is why, marriage time. 3 knots you put. 3 knots. Ahankara, Kama, and Karma. Avidya, 1 knot. Kama, desire, 2nd knot. Then action, Karma, 3rd knot. Caught. Finished. Bound. Sthulasya jehasya karanasya atmanascha madhyagatatvat sukshma pada vyavaharya. Why it is called sukshma sharira? Because it is neither sthulam nor it is Paramatma. So between these two, it is not gross, it is not causal, it is subtle. Deham ashritya Deha Vyaparatvat Shariratvam Hetoho Sukshma Shariram. So it is abiding or residing as though in the body, but at the same time it is that which is making the body function, engage in, and therefore it is called Sharira, all right, but Sukshma. Mana pramanagatasya mana pranatmakasya sukshma sharirasya mana pradhanatvat manaha. Why it is called mind? Because it is mainly able to preside over the pranas. At the same time, it is physically, subtle body is predominantly mind. Predominantly in the form of thoughts. Therefore, it's called mana. Anavastita janma nidanas rupa paripramanat samsaraha. Because it is subject to constant change, which is experiencing the change. Therefore, it is called bhavajiva nama. Bhaktavyaha madhyam madhyatapurvameva vicharitam. Now, Having said that, what is this fellow who is this fellow which is now? What does it do? This ahankara, sitting in between Jada and Chaitanyam. See, Sri Ramana Maharshi's teaching is mainly Atma Vichara. Atma Vichara, self-inquiry. Atma Vichara, self-inquiry. See, when you do inquiry, you must have a starting point. There is a murder, let us say, a crime. A crime, when somebody reported the crime, the investigators go there, look at what is happened. And when they see somebody died and all that thing, so this person died, and then they look at what do they look for? Evidence, a clue. Has that crime, the murderer who committed the crime has left any trace of evidence by which I can pick up the thread and start investigating there. With no clue at all, no evidence at all, we will have a lot of tough time to find out who could have properly done that. Is there any enemy for this person who died? Then they'll take a list of people who probably is the criminal. So in the same way, Atma Vichar ke liye, मैं आत्मा हूं, I am the self, but it is not my anubhava, it is not my presently, it is not my experience. Atma tu Satchidananda Rupaha, of the nature of pure existence, consciousness and bliss, yet I have a fear of death. I have the lack of happiness. I always seek that I am living an unawareful life. Therefore, I'm looking for this and that. I am so identified with my physical body and its demands. So these are all symptoms of the problem of not able to abide and reside and establish in the self. This is the crime scene, so to say. Now I have to find out who is the cause for this. Who is the culprit here? Why it is not possible for me to abide in the self? Nishta kyun nahi hota hai? Ka karan kya hai? So some evidence should be there. Something which I have to pick up the thread from. So, therefore, what is that? So when you discover there is something present between the gross body and the consciousness being of the nature of freedom, body is subject to change and death. Something in between is the one which is experiencing the bondage. What is that? That is where Ramana Maharshi would say, this ahankara eva karanam. This ahankara is the one. That is what he is trying to establish. Now, you see, what is that it does? Rupodbhavo rupatati pratishto. Rupashano dhuta grihita rupaha. Swayam virupaha swavichara kale. Davatyahankara pishachayeshaha. Rupodbhavo rupatadi pratishto. Rupashano dhuta grihita rupaha. Swayam virupa swavichara kale. Davatyahankara pishachayeshaha. Yeshaha pishacha. He says it is like a ghost. Ahankara Pishach. Pishacha means Pishitam Ashnadi. That which is eating of dead things. It's called Pishach. Now, Eshaha Ahankaraha Pishachaha. This is a ghost. Now, called ego is called a ghost. Rupa Udbhavaha. Born among the forms, Rupe Udbhavaha. Rupad Udbhavaha. Rupadadi Pradishtaha. And it's a Pradishtaha. It is established, retaining itself, its sustenance among the forms, objects. Rupa Ashanaha. And it constantly devours all that which has form. Here, Rupa does not mean physical form. That which has characteristics is called a Rupa. Anything that has certain characteristics, virtues, qualities is called Rupa here. Rupa Ashanaha. Duta Grihita Rupaha. Duta and Grihita. Duta means to give up. Grihita means to grasp. Rupa. See, it is constantly giving away, giving up the form upon death. One form it gives up and picks up another form. Then again it gives that up. Again another form it picks up. In this way, constantly it is giving up and taking it. Also, if you look at our own mind, our own self, whatever I thought in the morning, as soon as I woke up, after some time, that is gone. Another set of thoughts have come, or one or other thoughts have come. So that I pick it up. After some time, that is gone, another thought has come. That I pick it up, leave the previous one. Again, another one. It's continuously going on. Duta Grihita Rupaha. Picking up one thing, leaving other. Other picking up something else and leaving the other. Swayam Virupaha. Without having any form of its own. Rupodbhavo Rupadadi Pradishtaha. Rupashano Duta Grihita Rupaha. Swayam Virupaha. It having no form of its own. Swavichara Kale Dhavati. When you start questioning it, Swavichara Kale, upon the inquiry, at the time of inquiry, Dhavati, it runs. Ahankara Pishat. This Ahankar, it has no form. It has no particular form of its own. It identified with the physical body. It is born in the form of a physical body identification. It is sustaining itself with one form or the other. It is devouring, consuming the forms, meaning objects and experiences. It is giving up one and picking up another. By itself, it does not have a form. Upon inquiry, it disappears. So this criminal, is very difficult to find out because he's constantly on the run. You cannot catch him that easily. Like in the crime story which I was talking about, the murderer, once they have identified who could be the possible criminal, when they go after him, he changes forms constantly. In one place, he appears in one form, next place, another form, another place, another form. That is why when you sit for meditation, Swamiji, I am going to withdraw myself from the body. Fine. Even as you withdraw slowly from all the senses and the body identification, the thought comes about something that happened yesterday, something you wanted to happen that did not happen, something you thought of but you could not do, something you never wanted that happened which you did not want. All sort of things. It takes that form. By the time you somehow chanting the name of Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah. Chanting the name of the Lord also with anger because you want to get rid of this. Bhagavan, please kill this one. So you then chant Rudram, Chamakam, what not? Sanchame, Mayachame, Priyanchame, Kanamachame, Kamachame. May, only for me. So, and then slowly. So even as you withdraw from all the thoughts, some vasana would come. See, after the meditation, I should have one cup of coffee. Then my day, until I have dinner, will be nice. Oh, this year's vacation, where are we to go? Another thought. Something. So it keeps on jumping from one to another, which does not allow you to hold it. Dhavati ahankar. When does it actually run away from you? Vichara kale. Swavichara kale. Dhavati ahankara. So, Rupa Udbhavaha means Rupeshu, Sukshmeshu, Stuleshu va Udbhavaha Janma Yasya Saha. It has its own birth, whether it is in the form of grass or in the subtle form. Rupa Dadi Pradishtaha Rupanam Tadishu Rup Samudayeshu Pradishta Sthidihi Yasya Saha. It sustains itself amidst the physical forms or some form or the other, in the form of a thought, in the form of an idea, I am the body. Rupa ashanaha, rupani ashanam aharaha, jivana sadhanam yasya saha. It is constantly consuming. As I said, it can be consuming in the form of experiencing the world, emotions, feelings, objects. Duda grihita rupaha, dutani tektani, Grihitani Swikritani cha Rupani Yena Saha Ekasmad Rupad Anyarutta Rupam Upaidi Alambanartham. It leaves one particular form and picks up another form as a support for its existence. That's why these criminals, when they become very strong, what they do is they go and catch hold of ministers, high officials, men in power, so because they can survive with them. Oh, even if the police is after them, they can hide behind some powerful people and then operate from there. See, some time back, there was one sandalwood, some sandalwood, what do you call that? Stealing was going on between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Sandalwood trees were being cut and being exported. So one powerful dacoit was there in the forest between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. You know the names and all, I don't want to say that. And this guy was having the support of the villagers around him. And so even though these people have seen him, when the police came, they said, we have not seen him. Because he used to give them money. A lot of money. Because sandalwood would cost a lot. And so when he sold the sandalwood and he had made a lot of money, he was living in the forest, so he did not have much to spend on. So he used to distribute, like, what do you call that? What is the name? Anyway, so he used to give money to them, so they won't tell. And the police tried and tried, he used to hide. So both Kerala government and the Tamil Nadu government, both of them put their army, police, everything, combed the entire forest area. Can't be found. So many years they searched for him. Now the thing is, are the police that foolish? They cannot find him? The thing is, he hid himself behind a powerful person, some powerful people. Even in fact, he actually kidnapped one of the Kannada actor. It is between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, correct? Not Kerala. Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And he kidnapped, it is said, one of the famous actors. And he kept them as a, kidnapped him and kept him for ransom. And then you know what further happened. And at some point of time, they declared that we killed him. When the police said we killed him. Nobody saw his body. It's like Osama, right? He was attacked and killed, and he was drowned into the water. And America declared that we killed him. Nobody saw his body. Same way, this guy was also killed, but nobody saw his body. Now, my only doubt is, it is personal doubt. There was nothing like that person actually. There was one powerful person in the ministry, either of the states. He is doing this in the disguise of a dacoit. There was no actual dacoit there. It's a figurehead. Somebody, some name here they have given. But actually the whole thing was done by powerful people. If he had been a real person, and they put somebody's picture there, some guy with a big mustache and all that, just to make people feel that there is a person like this. And the whole story was woven around. Oh, villagers do not tell anything about him, and then he does all the things. He kidnapped all sort of stories they kept on doing. Really speaking, some people, ministers who are doing this business of looting or taking away the sandalwood, etc., from the forest, making money. And finally, when all the operations came to an end, the government has put a rule that nobody can cut anything like that. No export of this thing should happen, etc. Then suddenly that fellow died. No body is found. See? In the same way, ahankar, uska roop nahi hai. There's no physical form. So when it dies, how does it die? Swavichara kale swayam virupaha swavichara kale davati. Because we see in the Mahatmas, in the Jivan Muktas, they also have physical body. And they also move like any one of us, eating and walking and everything. So, if you look at a Mahatma who is also living like anybody else, you wonder what actually is destroyed in this person. Ahankar nash ho gaya, iska. So, but I do not see him. He is also referring to himself as I only. Did you eat? He said, I have eaten, I am eating, I am walking, I am sleeping. So in him also I am is there. So what is this ahankar that he destroyed? Can you see it? So what is that gone? It is gone in him, which is there in us. That is why earlier it is referred as Pishach, a ghost. A ghost has no physical appearance. And, interesting thing is, one person may see the ghost, another may not even see that. So our ahankar, we are the only people who will be able to see it. Somebody else cannot. We can show off our ahankar in various ways. Our arrogance and pride and self-conceit and looking down upon others and proud about one. These are all the expressions of ahankar. Others will notice, bahut ahankari hai. But you cannot see it physically. So, but I know when somebody is not respectful to me, somebody doesn't listen to my opinion, or somebody is looking down, hey, oh dare you can do that to me? You said this to me. You did this to me. How dare you can do to me? You know my family? You know which family I come from? How great are my families? Family tradition? Where is my brother? Who is my brother? He is in a big CEO of that company. If CFO of that his company is my other brother. I am such a big family. What are you talking? Who am I? Ahankar. If you really closely look at ourselves, we know it is there. But when does it die? Where does it go? How does it go? Dhavati runs. When? So vichara kale ahankaraha pishachaha swasyeva atmanaha ahankara bodhasya vichara kale koham rupatva vichare pravritte dhavati palayate adarshanam gacchati ityartah chidabhasa sya ahankarasya chidatma mulatve api vishaya grasasya santatah charat pramana grasta sukshma sharirena तादात्म्य संबंधात अस्य चंचलत्वं रूपे रूपे जन्मस्थिति नाशाश्च भवन्ति अहंकार एव जीवः इति पूर्वश्लोके दर्शनात् अहंकारनाशात् जीवनाशः वक्तव्यः. So the destruction of the ego is the destruction of the individuality. Jivanasha. Jivatma, when you say, there are two words, Jiva plus Atma. The Jiva is the Ahankar. What is the Jiva? It is the reflection of consciousness in the mind, which is behaving like consciousness, but identified with the body. That is called Jiva. Now, when Ahankara is destroyed, the Jivatva of that person is gone. That is, individuality is gone, but Ahankara lakshanasya jivatvasya nashe bhavati eva natu jiva vyaktehe. So in the case of a Mahatma who had realized his nature by destruction of the Ahankar, the individuality of the person destroyed, but he will still live like a person. In such a case of a Mahatma whose consciousness is now directly expressing itself through the body without any kind of interpretation or interruption of the Ahankar. So, vyaktigatasya vyavaha ahankarasya nashe shuddhatma bhavaha shuddham bhavaha spurtihi avagantavya. The pure manifestation of the consciousness through the physical body of a Mahatma is continuing without any interruption of the ego, ahankar, individuality. What is that which is not having any strong likes, dislike, hatred, attachment, sorrow, overjoy, possessiveness, ownership, pride, arrogance? That's why Bhagavan Krishna gives that beauty of that such a Mahatma who lives in that very, as an expression of consciousness. He says in the 16th chapter, which we are seeing on the Sundays, Abhayam sattva samshuddhihi jnana yoga vyavasthitihi dhanam damascha yajnascha swadhyaya tapa arjavam ahimsa satyam akrodaha krodaha, all that. These are all the qualities of the divine nature. What is divine nature? consciousness expressing itself as the individual, not individuality, individual, because we see him as an individual. These qualities are seen in such a person. Whereas in our case, what? Dambaha, Krodhaha, Himsa, Ahankar, all. Darpa, Dambo, Darpa, Ahankar, all these. These are all the one created in between consciousness and the body, Ahankar, that is. See, in Vedanta, what we say, Ajnana Nashe, Atma Drishtihi, Ajnana Nashe, Atma Sakshatkaraha, destruction of ignorance leads to realization of the truth. The destruction of ignorance means what? Study and reading more and more books? Is it what is referred as Ajnana Nasha? No. Even though it is helpful to you, by studying scriptures, Gita, Upanishad, and Aditya, all these things we study. But does it lead to destruction of ego or not? Because Ajnana does not have any form. Ajnana means what? Absence. Absence of what? Absence of self-awareness. But this absence of self-awareness, where is it taking place? In Ahankar. In the ego, which is identified with the body and senses and thoughts and emotions and feelings and experience and vasanas, it is this destruction of this ego is what is called really the path to realization. In gaining the knowledge through study of Upanishad, etc., we gain the power to question this Ahankar. If that is not done, pado, kuch nahi hone wala hai. Some people have this Shastra Vasana, go on studying, reading this and that. But when is that when you are going to sit down and question the reality of your own Ahankar? That is the reason why Maharishi again and again says, Atma Vichar Karo, Koham iti Atma Vichara. Who am I? Who am I? This inquiry will not take place if you are busy with reading, busy with chanting, busy with, singing. If you're occupied with all that thing, when do you have a time to do vichara? When do you have time to question the reality of aham? We postpone it. Baad mein dekhenge, ho jayega. Sometime it will happen. Something it will not happen. Only you get old, that will happen. Ahankara nasha will not happen unless vichar. You do the vichar. And when do you do the vichar? Swamiji, every day morning, 5 o'clock, I get up and do koham, ahang, who am I vichar and go to sleep at 6 o'clock. This is to be continuously undertaken. Not at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning for 10 minutes and then go to sleep. Listen, Atma Vichar should be done at the background all the time. Kaun hu main? Kaun hu main? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? So when you are transacting with the world, when you find that Ahankara is projecting itself as I want, I don't want, I am great, I am better than others, stop. Be quiet. You are not me. You are just a pishach, ghost you are. Inside you can have conversation, but better don't do it very openly because people wonder what happened to you. Kaun hu main? Ye pishach hai? This is a ghost. That is not me. The arrogating ego is not me. The proud ego is not me. When people talk about, oh, my family is so great, oh, my family is so doing this, they are very, very, very traditional, Swamiji. Usme kya hai? Being traditional is another ahankar. Being born in a very, very, very chaste family, very devoted family, ahankar. Oh, my son is doing this and my wife is doing that, my husband is ahankar. I have done a great business, so many people know me, ahankar. See, we have to catch it. Not in others, huh? You should say, see, this is what Swamiji said. See, how much ahankar this person has. You are not here to judge others. Atma vichar ke liye about you yourself do that. Whenever this thought comes, pride about and proud about and arrogant about yourself, that time you say, no, this is not me. This does not mean you look down yourself. I'm good for nothing, useless fellow. That is also ahankar, because you are identifying with your lower nature. I mean, lower, thoughts about the failure, thoughts about how useless you are, thoughts about what you are incapable of. That is also ahankar. Neither what I am proud of, I am to consider them as true, nor what I think about myself as what I'm incapable of, what I don't know. Both. Anywhere you identify, it is ahankar. So, Atma Vichara is not a traditional sitting in meditation. No, it's a constant deliberation going on inside. Kaun. See, that's what in some of these crime movies and all that person who is wanting to catch that fellow, he doesn't have a 9 to 5 job. 9 o'clock, I'll start. 5 o'clock, I'll close the thing and go away. No. Who is this fellow? I want to find out. Always thinking about it. Who is this? Who could it be? How do I catch him? Where is he? How does he operate? In what form he is right now? Satatam, all the time. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasistitaha. Bhagavan Krishna says, traditional meditation, when you do sit down in quietly, it is to quieten the mind. In a quiet mind, vichar becomes very easy. When you are busy with things, that will be difficult. So you may probably sit down quietly once in a while in a day and make it more focused. But then don't stop. When you are busy with other things also, a background, it should go on. Koham. Who am I? Am I this arrogating ego? Am I this proud ego? Am I that one which is seeking self-respect and honor and attention? Am I the one who is proud of my own achievements? That is the method Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi advises us to do. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.